Hello, Nikhil. Am I
Hello. Yes, ma'am, you are.
okay? So, shall we start?
Yes.
Let me start with the interview. A little introduction. Hello, friends. My name is Zareen, and I am from the Hindu Zone. The Hindu Zone is a career counseling and guidance platform where we provide guidance for the different competitive examinations aspirants like UPSC, SSC, NEET, IIT, CLAT, JE, and today we have Nikhil Mahajan with us, who has cracked UPSC with All India rank 80. And many congratulations from the full team, yeah, whole team of the Hindu Zone. Heartiest
Thank
congratulations to you, Nikhil.
thank you. Thank you.
And thank you so much that you spare some time for us and having sharing this interview with us.
Thank
It's a pleasure to have you with us and talking to you. So, a very common question you must be facing nowadays, that how are you feeling after cracking this exam?
I'm just grateful. It's been a long journey for me, and finding my name in the list, it's a surreal moment. It'll take some time to sink in, but until then, I'm just thanking God every day.
Lovely. And since how long you were preparing, and आपका कौन सा attempt था?
So this was my last attempt, my sixth attempt, and I had not gotten selected before. So this was like the final chance to make it, and fortunately, I did.
इससे पहले आपका जो आप कह रहे हैं आपका सिक्स अटेम्प्ट है, तो कहाँ कहाँ आपको लगा कि आपके लिए चैलेंजेस रहे, इंटरव्यू तक कितनी बार फेस किया, इस तरह का कुछ एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करेंगे आप हमारे व्यूअर्स के साथ प्लीज
The challenges in the
ड्यूरिंग
UPSC.
दिस यस ड्यूरिंग द प्रिपरेशन.
Right. So mainly I struggled with the general studies and essay part. Like I come from an engineering background, and in fact, even now my scores are not very good in the GS and essay part. My optional, which is mathematics and interview, fortunately pulled me through. So I've struggled to understand the demand regarding that. I'm sure there are other toppers who would be able to guide students much better. For me, as the attempts went on, the mental side of things also became very important to keep myself focused and uh, keep myself hopeful that things will work out in the end, which they fortunately did. So yeah.
Okay, this year I guess three toppers are girls are there. So, how are you feeling? I mean, about this.
That is an amazing news. I'm lucky to be part of a batch which is led by three amazing women. I look forward to the opportunity to meeting them during training, and just amazing, amazing success. Especially like UPSC is one of the toughest examinations, and I believe in the last few years we have not had a woman topper. It's been a boy for the last 4 5 years, I believe. Not certain. And this year to have three like Sood Samit, which is very nice. Which is very nice.
Would you like to share with us your family background, if you had anybody in your family or relatives, a civil servant or something like that? Like, what is your family background?
Right. So I am an only child. I unfortunately lost my mother, Sumati Mahajan, when I was 8 years old, and since then it's been me and my father living together. My father retired from the education department a couple of years ago, and he has been my greatest pillar of support and my guiding light, so to speak. He was the one who initially encouraged me for UPSC and kept me motivated throughout the journey that I've observed.
From where did you get this inspiration to become an IAS or to go for civil services or something like that? I mean, since your childhood or just
Right. Middle class families, I think services are one of the most coveted positions in the country. So there was that idea. In fact, in the background, you see my grandfather, Mr. Sukhdev Raj Gupta. He was very fascinated by officers, and my father, sort of as a tribute to him, wanted to make his son into an officer. And so that was the beginning. And slowly, my interests also ultimately converged. I went to college at IIT Delhi, and I took certain policy and humanities courses as well. And I thought, well, combining technical sides and humanities would be great fun. And UPSC and governance provides you the opportunity to do that. You're tackling people's real problems, social problems, using the power of technology that we have. So that was very exciting for me. So I ultimately ended up in this path.
when did you actually start preparing or planning for this UPSC? Like after 12th or during your graduation time or after graduation, you think that you will start
Right.
preparation?
Yeah, during graduation, let's say towards the end, I did not sit for placements in college in my final year. I thought I would clear with examination. So it's been since then. It's been around 7, 8 years almost since I started my journey. Yeah.
Okay, and since you have told us already that your father was a big support to you, and he encouraged you for this. So we there is no question that whether your family supported or not. And how about your friend circle? What about like they were into this thing? Like they also wanted to join UPSC with you, or they were from other fields? I mean, about your friend circle, like your peer group.
Right. So in my peer group, I had some people who were also preparing for the examination, and some of them got selected at the services, and so they were a huge support continuously. And I also had friends who were not in the services, who were in the corporate sector. Narrow group of friends, but a very strong, well-knit group of friends who would provide that constant affirmation, so to speak, that you will get through. Just keep at it.
Okay, after every attempt, I mean, this is what generally people say that, like, when you failed at your first attempt and second attempt, so there is a lot of stress and mental pressure. So how did you manage to deal with that?
Right. So that was a huge learning for me, honestly. So when we start the preparation in UPSC, the promise that it holds of what lies on the other end is so big that that idea is a huge motivation in itself. But once attempts go on, you realize the importance of just being in the moment. You must focus on the particular book that you're studying, the particular chapter that you're reading, the particular page that you're on, regardless of the past, regardless of the future. So that mental discipline to not let thoughts about my past failures or about some future promise that is uncertain, which will cause anxiety because uncertainty causes anxiety. So just learning how to control my mind to not engage those thoughts, to just focus on the question or the topic at hand. That was the biggest learning for me, which I would recommend to other aspirants as well. That yes, the stakes are pretty big. It's a huge opportunity that many people commit, but the focus has to be, as Mahabharata says, on the bird's eye. The bird's eye is only the topic in front of you. It's not even UPSC. It's not even being an IS officer. It's only the topic in front of you, the page in front of you, and that is it.
Okay, see, since you have told us that obviously challenges were there and you did not let them to overcome, you know. So, is there any particular habit or any hobby which helps you to do something like to control your mind and your emotions?
So I'm a pretty mediocre guitar player. I did try to engage with that a little bit. And secondly, I in the last few years I have really followed a disciplined schedule. Waking up very early in the morning, making it a point to wake up. There was this uh, thought that came across. Somebody said it. Hitting the snooze on the alarm button is the first admission of defeat, and that's the first thing in the morning that you do. If you snooze the alarm, that you should not do. Like if you have an alarm, just get up. So that was like, so I kept small challenges for myself. Small targets, achieving those targets, getting confidence from those targets, and just carrying on with my day, and treating each day as a new day. Past success does not matter, past failure does not matter. So that habit, mental habit of staying in the moment and taking each challenge, very small challenges, but trying my best in overcoming them, that was a habit that I try to cultivate, and I will hopefully continue working on.
Okay, what was your routine and time management during this preparation? If you would like to share with our viewers.
So I was, in retrospect, fortunate, but it could have been unfortunate as well that I was unemployed for a pretty long time. So I had a lot of time on my hands. And so I was completely focused on the preparation itself, nothing to do, and especially after COVID, the universe did not allow you anything else to do. So I was the way I planned my time was I had mathematics as my optional, right? So that requires a lot of effort. So you could say around 70% of my time went into my optional, which paid rich dividends, fortunately. And I would focus on whatever thing was giving me the most anxiety. So whatever thing I would stress the most about, I would be like, all right, that's the next thing that I'm going to do. So that was sort of an internal mechanism so that nothing is left out. I had a good handle of what the syllabus is and just focusing on what is the thing that is worrying me and just getting it done. That was the simple strategy that I followed in my time management.
And how many hours did you used to study? I mean, every day.
Right, so that's a difficult question to answer. As in, everyone has their own time requirements and stuff. I had to put in like 10 to 12 hours on average, consistently. So that was mine. People have done it with much lesser amount, much greater amount, but that does not really matter. The idea is that you have a goal in front of you and you become the person who is going to achieve that goal, whatever that means. Whoever you are, some people have better memorization skills. Some people are better at other things, time management and other things. So, number of hours for me was 10 to 12 hours. For others, it may vary. It's
Okay.
not set in
Uh,
stone.
Nikhil, like you said that you had your mathematics as your optional subject. So how did you decide that you will choose mathematics, or any suggestion you would like to give that how, because aspirants are very confused about that, or what they should go opt as an optional. So anything you would like to suggest?
Right. So I chose mathematics because of like engineering background, very comfortable in mathematics since childhood. So that made the most sense for me. And mathematics is an optional. The benefits it provides is that it is very certain. I knew after the exam how well I had done, and I got a score that I expected. Frankly, like I expected a score above 320. I got 328. Like that score will not go down. It will not fail you if you do it justice. If you do the preparation justice. I think if one needs to focus on the strengths. Optional is a very, very important part if you get that right. Uh, General studies papers, it becomes difficult to distinguish yourself. And also, like, I do not know what the code for general studies is, quite frankly. Right? Other toppers may be able to tell that better. You need to spend considerable amount of time with your optional to also make sure that you are sufficiently interested because you need to really go into the depth. You cannot just skim the pages and get through with it. So be interested, be thorough with the optional, give it adequate respect that it demands. And other than that, there is the idea that science optionals do not help with the GS part of the syllabus, which is very true. So my GS scores have also suffered, but that's a trade-off that like look at proper strategies, my strategy, my score sheet. Like what is the thing that you think? What is the slot that you fit in? Like, can you? What's your background that you're coming from? So I think all those things consider those factors, and each one has to decide for themselves.
So did you ever plan to change, or did you ever change your optional, or since always like you had optional mathematics in your optional subject?
No, mathematics was the only thing that was true to me throughout the exam. it धोखा नहीं दिया कभी maths ने. Other things it's very difficult to predict, so I did not let go of mathematics from the first attempt onwards. Yeah.
Okay, so like you were saying that you always had some problem with GS or essay writing papers. So with every attempt, how did recognize your mistake, and how you start working on that, so that if viewers are watching you, so they can also learn.
Absolutely, yeah. That's something I would want to mention. So I had to change my writing style, from paragraphs to bullet points, from bullet points to more concise bullet points, trying to fit in as many facts as possible, as much data, committee reports, recommendations, etc., and how to write them in a very, very concise way. Because what matters is keywords. Have you touched upon the relevant keywords? No one cares about grammar. No one cares about perfect sentence and stuff like that. At least in my opinion. Again, a bad person to ask because I'm not going to score GS. But that was my sense, and that was something that changed. Now, my GS score has been up and down over the years, and I'm not really certain again, like what exactly works. But look at toppers papers and make sure that you do not make obvious mistakes. And obvious mistakes, for example, would be writing in large paragraphs because you will miss out on the examiner. It will be difficult for them to actually see if you have covered all the relevant points. Because having like 15 points, distinct points, gives a better impression, and trying to be as concise as possible. No one cares about Izaran. This is not an essay paper. So look at toppers papers. They're very concise, almost all of them. And also, yes, you will find toppers papers who have adopted a completely different strategy and still got very good marks. But you have to look at what the general trend is. Like what the general, because there are many, many examiners in UPSC who are checking specs. So what's the general impression? Like you cannot hope that the one person who will appreciate your particular way of writing will get your copy. That's not going to happen. Look at like 10, 15, 30 topper copies and look at the common things that you do and adopt them definitely.
ओके। आपने कभी कहीं कोचिंग लिया था? और क्योंकि काफ़ी स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं जो हमारे पास आते हैं गाइडेंस के लिए, दे रियली वांट टू नो कि वेदर दे शुड गो फॉर अ कोचिंग थिंग और नॉट, विल हेल्प अस और नॉट। सो आई थिंक यू विल बी द राइट पर्सन हु विल सजेस्ट दैट।
और सो कोचिंग मैंने अपने कॉलेज टाइम पे ज्वाइन की थी, पर 2 महीने बाद, 2 महीने भी मैंने शायद नहीं गया था, 1 1 महीने बाद छोड़ दी थी बिकॉज आई कुड नॉट मैनेज इट अलॉन्ग विद कॉलेज. And since then, I did not take coaching because I felt I had to commit to self study. What coaching I believe helps in would be a completion of syllabus. So, complete syllabus is so vast; it's very easy to go into the depth of one particular area and ignore like certain small topics जहाँ से पता ही है कि 10 20 नंबर का आने वाला है, right? So it gives you a holistic overview. The notes are complete; they're thorough, and also it gives you a sense of competition, healthy competition. You see people working around you, and you also want to work hard. So if you can recreate that environment somehow, take coaching notes and focus on the completion of syllabus and join some test series to make sure that you are on the right track, I think you can qualify this examination without coaching.
Okay. Many aspirants are like they are not from Delhi, or maybe some very small district uh, from like Jharkhand or this Bihar. So they really wanted to know that how they can prepare from their hometown. Maybe there are some conditions that they are not able to commute here in Delhi. So what are the resources available for them?
Right, so online, so there are many resources, right? All the books are available, all the notes are available, and now I believe from Delhi you can order notes as well, printed notes like the courier and stuff. So all the material would be available. There are certain platforms which you IS aspirants use to keep each other motivated. They're double-edged sword. You can waste a lot of time in random discussions on them. Uh, you'll have to really evaluate yourself. Be honest with yourself. Are you doing justice to your preparation? Like if you're just passing on days, you will not be able to make it either in like a small town in Faridkot or in Delhi. If you believe you're making progress and that is validated by some test series, definitely join test series. And if you're making good progress on that, that means you're on the right track and you do not need to worry. If you're not performing well, and that can be true in Delhi or in a small town, you need to change stuff and you have to be honest with what it is that you need to change.
Okay. Mainly, as like our viewers, yeah, or the students and those who comes to us wants to know that current affair is a challenge and note making is a challenge. So, what is the strategy to cover this current affair part and making note?
So honestly, Zareen, like I have not really scored very well. I would not want to like confuse people with my own way because it did not work, quite honestly. So like, so please listen to people who did well and adopt their strategies. And I would like once I get to know of them, I would also like direct people to exactly the people who did well in GS. So I would not want to confuse people with my the way I did things.
Okay. Is there any like UPSC differentiate between English medium or other regional language or Hindi medium thing? Because many students, if you go to Mukherjee Nagar, they will complain about that. Uh, हिंदी मीडियम के स्टूडेंट्स को हमेशा नेग्लेक्ट किया जाता है या वो आगे नहीं आ पाते, तो इज देयर एनीथिंग लाइक दैट, डिड यू फील?
So I do have friends. Like I have a friend who had Punjabi literature optional, and Punjabi medium in the interview as well, and who is serving as an IRS officer in income tax right now. So it's very unlikely. I believe UPSC is like one of the fairest, most just bodies there is. Yes, the process is it may be difficult to understand, but I believe there's complete justice. Like there's no partiality towards any medium. The problem that can happen is that sources available are fewer in regional languages, right? So, for example, you need to write certain keywords for each answer, and keywords matter. So, since in English medium we have so many notes, newspapers, etc., so we have a larger set of keywords to play around with, which can be difficult for vernacular language students. So the people who have qualified in those languages, I would urge you to consider their strategies, their notes. What are the how did they develop their keywords and material required? What sources they refer to? Uh, UPSC is, in my view, one of the strongest pillars of our Indian system, and I don't believe that it discriminates on any basis. For example, this was my sixth attempt. I was unemployed for a very long time, and I have scored 193 marks in interview. And there's a common idea here. if you are like बहुत attempts हो गई हैं, unemployed बैठे हो, तो then discriminate and stuff like that did not happen. You scored excellent marks. Like 106 is a very very good score. So all these ideas do not. That's not in your control. One, focus on things that are in your control. And secondly, UPSC is a very fair body. In my experience of 7 years appearing for this examination.
Is there any luck chance work in UPSC? I mean, apart from this, like you have to work hard, obviously. लेकिन यहाँ पे कई बार लोग कहते हैं कि कुछ लोग बहुत लकी भी होते हैं. बहुत सारे डिजर्विंग लोग हमने देखा है जो नहीं क्वालिफाई कर पाते और उनसे लेस डिजर्विंग लोग क्वालिफाई कर जाते हैं. तो लक फैक्टर होता है क्या यहाँ पे?
Absolutely, ma'am. I'm sure there are many, many people who are more deserving than me who could not make it to the list. There's no doubt about that. But then luck is a part of life. Things happen. I lost my mother when I was 8 years old. Was I lucky? Was I unlucky? Who knows? Things happen, and you work around that. Where you work through that. You focus on the things again that you can't control, and then hope for the best. Leave it up to God and trust His plan. So don't worry about stuff that is not in your control.
And somebody who's actually preparing, with all work hard and still, if they cannot make out this, and suppose they have done all the attempt. So एक्चुअली हमारे पास इस तरह से आते हैं मैम, हमने अगर अभी तैयारी शुरू कर ली और हमारा नहीं हुआ तो क्या हमारे पास और बेटर ऑप्शन होते हैं, क्योंकि हमने इतना टाइम दिया है एक प्रिपरेशन को कि फिर हमारे पास और कौन-कौन से बेटर ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल होते हैं इस प्रिपरेशन के लिए. सो बिफोर इवन स्टार्टिंग द जर्नी उनके दिमाग में बहुत कन्फ्यूजन होता है. इस पे आप, क्योंकि आपने एक लंबे टाइम से तैयारी कर रहे हैं, सो यू हैव सीन योरसेल्फ कि आप कहाँ से पॉलिश हुए, क्या-क्या चेंजेस आए हैं. तो यू कैन मे बी गाइड देम कि हाँ, वो और कौन से ऑप्शंस, करियर ऑप्शंस उनके लिए खुल जाते हैं, अगर वो अपने साथ ईमानदारी से मेहनत करते हैं तो.
I completely agree. That is a genuine worry, and in fact, I was in that situation like 3 days ago. Up to 3 days ago, I was wondering what to do next. Attempts are over. What to do? So considering different options. Number one, I was very lucky that I had like a family. I did not need my support financially, so I could afford to invest my time in this. So please consider your financial situation, because if the finances are not right, that pressure is very difficult to manage. Uh, there are people who are qualified with while doing their jobs. Please consider their strategies. Thirdly, the options. So there are many examinations in which UPSC preparation directly benefits. The state PSC examinations. There are RBI examinations many people give. Other than that, many people keep on doing degrees. Become masters. They would give GRF. I have a friend who gave GRF. Their option was sociology, and they did masters in sociology, MA sociology, and then Punjab had some posts for sociology lecturers in college, and they got through that, and they topped the examination for that because the UPSC preparation was so strong. They did not make it through UPSC, but now they're serving as assistant professor and earning very well and having a great life, right? So please be aware of these different paths that are available, different examinations, and also like I believe these degrees can add, because many examinations require certain qualification criteria. Only UPSC requires bachelor's, others require masters and PhD and stuff. So these options, please consider. I had a backup, strong backup, because like being from IIT Delhi and my technical background, like I could. My worst case was that I would go for a software engineering job. I know I'm good at mathematics. I will like learn coding and stuff, and I'll make reasonable living. So I had that clear in my mind, which gave me a lot of confidence, honestly. Right. So having a clear backup plan is a very useful part, especially if you get caught in the cycle of the examination. God forbid.
Okay. And last question I would like to ask, that that it's there is a prelims on 5th of June. So
Right.
any strategy you want to share with those who are going to make it for the first time? किस
Right.
तरह से क्वेश्चंस पढ़ना भी है, उसको समझना है और उसको आंसर करना है.
Right. So exactly. The idea right now is to be comfortable with the uncertainty and the unpredictability of the prelims exam. All of us know 35, 40, at max 45 questions, even 45 is never. Like I knew at max 35 questions in any prelims examination. Then you have to do intelligent guesswork. And you can only do that if you are comfortable with not knowing the answer. Right? So please focus on mock tests, just being comfortable with not knowing the answer, trying to make intelligent guesses, and वो एक intuition develop होती है. Solving mock tests and seeing you predicted something that the answer was something else, and somehow mental neurons work out कि अच्छा कि ये चीजें ऐसे काम करती हैं. And so focusing on practice, being comfortable with not knowing the prelims answers, and just giving your most focused attempt on each question. So I, in my last prelims, for example, I just did not read the question. मिस हो गया somehow कि वो इंटरनेशनल लैंग्वेज डे पे, मदर लैंग्वेज डे पे क्वेश्चन था, एंड मैंने पढ़ा ही नहीं वो क्वेश्चन, मैंने प्रैक्टिकली लाइक आई वाज लाइक व्हाट डिड आई रीड, आई डिड नॉट रीड द व्हाट द क्वेश्चन वाज. So being very alert on each and every question, it's a very exhausting 2 hours, 100 questions. Being sure that you read the question properly, not है या फिर is है, वो चीज़ें देखना, and being comfortable with not knowing the paper, and just working out it out on the spot, improvising on the spot. Being comfortable with that by practicing mock tests in the last few days would be my advice.
Okay. Any wish here or suggestion, last suggestion you would want to give to our viewers, those who are going to, for this prelims from your side, apart from that, how to read questions, anything, how to handle stress, how to, anything you would like to suggest?
Right. So if you have already joined the preparation, which I believe most of the viewers would have, welcome to the party. It's an amazing, amazing place to be. Many, many learnings. I have grown as a person a lot in these last few years. And in my final attempt, especially, it was the end, and a lot of investment had been made in terms of time and effort. And who knew where it was going to land? But the idea that I had in my mind was, there's this quote by Winston Churchill that really kept me going. Uh, I don't. It's not certain if he said it, but it said that he said this. When he was appointed as the prime minister, he wanted to convince his cabinet that we should not negotiate with Nazi Germany and we should fight, regardless of what death and destruction it would happen, because it's worth it. What he said was, if this island story of ours is to end at last, let it end when each one of us lies choking in his own blood on the ground. If United Kingdom is not going to survive, let it not survive when each one of us has given it everything. So for me, I was not going to lie choking in my own blood, but the idea that I had was I was going to probably be dead with exhaustion. I was going to give my everything so that I do not have any regrets, that there was this thing that I loved and I did not give it every fiber of my being. And there is tremendous solace in that. Trust me. Even before the results came, right? Like the results came, abhi bada acha lag raha hai, oh, yeah. But even if it had not happened, right? And I've experienced with that, like 5 times failure. Even if that had not happened, I was pretty satisfied with the kind of effort that I'd put in, and I'd done justice to the love that I had for the service. And there's tremendous solace behind it. So just remember that, give it your everything, and trust God's plan for you. You'll be fine.
थैंक यू सो मच निखिल, आपने अपना टाइम दिया, एंड विश यू लक इन द फ्यूचर. आई होप कि आप यू विल सर्व द नेशन विद द प्रेजेंटेशंस जिसके साथ आपने सर्विस ज्वाइन किए थे. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you so much, Arun. Thank you.